moving on. Let's see where this story takes us. And today I'll be reading in the morning, so that hopefully I can get this uploaded. Okay. Chapter 7. The next day was a Monday, and Nick knew he needed to get a video out. There would be a good chunk of people coming to his channel from the collaboration with Jason, so having fresh content was a must. Fortunately, he had taken a few videos at the other night's party. He could also do some good commentary on why the cracks of his skin were dyed red. That last part would be good, especially with people coming from the pool dye video. Nick also thought about rent. Now that the hype from his video with Tom and Daisy had died down, his channel wasn't putting up the numbers to cover food and the following month's payment. The amount of money Teddy and he had planned to spend and the money they were actually spending was drastically different. They were burning through their runway money twice as fast as they had thought. He also knew Teddy was doing even worse. His channel saw only a minimum amount of growth. If things didn't start to turn around soon, they would be put out on the street. Nick thought about Skid Row. If it came to that, would he have enough money to get back home? He pushed the thought away as he tried to concentrate on editing the new video. He hadn't taken any footage at the red pool beyond a short clip of the pool itself. The lack of footage made it harder to tell a complete story. To compensate, he used what little he had as B-roll. Background footage he could play on the screen while he told his story. It wasn't the best in his opinion, but it got the job done. Next time, he would need to remember to get more footage whenever he went out. What was the point of doing something interesting if he wasn't recording? It was always a relieving feeling when a video was done and he could hit the upload button, and this one felt no different. From that point on, it was up to the internet and YouTube. His part was over. He sat back and watched the upload percentage tick, letting his mind rest from all of his worries. If they weren't going to make rent, he wouldn't stress about it until the time got closer. Until then, he would simply make the videos he could make. Teddy was sitting in the living room when Nick finally came out. He had his headset on, playing an RPG. He talked to the screen, which meant he was most likely recording himself live. He pulled the headset off his right ear when he saw Nick and let it rest on his temple. "Morning," he said. "You slept in. It's already after 1. Nick sat next to him on the couch. "I've been editing all morning." Teddy turned from the screen, a curious look on his face. "That's my roommate Nick. Why?" After a short pause, Teddy's head snapped back to Nick. "Did you make a video with the neighbor?" "Yeah, yesterday," said Nick, realizing someone must be talking to Teddy's other ear. Teddy moved fast, using the Xbox controller to minimize the RPG and open the YouTube video. He navigated to the trending page and clicked. When it loaded, Nick felt a chill run through his body. He stared at his own face, standing in front of the red pool. The video beamed from the number 1 slot on the trending page. Teddy looked amazed, as Nick knew the feeling because Teddy looked amazed, and Nick knew the feeling because he felt it too. The video displayed that it was 7 hours old and had over 525,000 views. Dude, said Teddy. Nick pulled out his phone and opened the video he had just uploaded. What he saw he almost couldn't believe. It had already accumulated 20,000 views, and when he hit refresh, it added 100 more. Clicking on his homepage, Nick realized he had over 4,000 new subscribers. I thought you weren't going to go through with it, said Teddy. Nick closed his phone and tried to reorient himself with the room. He felt light, as if he let go of the couch, he might float. It's hard to say no to that guy, he said. Good, said Teddy, coming back to his senses. He looked into the live camera. You guys see that? I'm sitting here with the star of Jason Cross's newest video. Should we watch it? He clicked off of the YouTube app and brought up a scrolling text. Different people were sending a flurry of comments. The consensus is a resounding yes, he said, bringing YouTube back up and clicking on the video. Nick watched along as a 6-minute YouTube video played on screen. It began with Jason on a yacht, then went to people surfing and jet skiing. From there, it showed the group playing hide and seek at a museum. Nick made his first appearance near the middle, where he was presented as one of the main people at Jason's party. This eventually shifted to the grand finale, the stunt at the pool. By the time it finished, another 10,000 people had already watched. Nick couldn't help but check his own video again. It had gained another 3,000 views. His subscriber count was up by 200. Amazing, said Teddy, more to the camera than to Nick. That Jason Cross knows how to make an entertaining video. Yeah, said Nick, ignoring the fact that the question wasn't really for him. Teddy pulled out his phone and brought up the same scrolling commentary tab that had been on screen earlier. There's a lot of people joining my stream. I think word's getting out that you're on here. Nick glanced over, seeing the text scrolling by, faster than it was earlier. Oh, what's up, guys? He said, nodding towards the camera. Someone named Wade wants to know what Jason's like, said Teddy. Nick thought for a moment, keeping his eyes on the camera as though it were a third person in the room. He wondered how many people were on the other end, their eyes on him. He's like no one I've ever met, said Nick. Like some kind of royalty, a descendant of kings. He thought about how many people were watching and realized he'd better be careful what he said. What if his statement got back to Jason's group? He'd be written off as a weirdo. He seems like a cool dude, Nick corrected. Teddy threw his hands back, catching Nick in the chest. Hey, called Nick. Someone just donated $100, said Teddy, then looked at the camera. Jade263, I'm not worthy of your donation, but thank you so much. This began a slew of $2 and $5 donations that Teddy, hopping on the edge of his seat, This began a slew of $2 and $5 donations that had Teddy hopping on the edge of his seat. His enthusiasm rubbed off on Nick, who began to feel giddy. Teddy gained followers too, his numbers rising at almost a quarter the rate of Nick's. This was still an unheard of amount for both of them, and they spent the morning on the couch in elation. Watching how fast both of their numbers were growing, Nick felt sure they would have enough money for rent, and the following rent, and the one after that. When it came time for Teddy's live stream to end, he hesitated to do so. The donations and followers were still rolling in. However, he informed Nick that he had been live for over 8 hours at that point. When the camera turned off, they both sank back into the couch. I think you should start doing the live streams with me, said Teddy. You want me to co-host your channel? Teddy shrugged. You saw all the donations and followers? It wasn't because of me. That's only because I'm in Jason Cross's latest video, said Nick. Your channel is going to be different now. Things don't go back to normal after something like this. Nick sank a little lower into the couch, feeling the weight of Teddy's words. Good, he said. Isn't that why we're here? Teddy leaned forward on the couch so he could face Nick. Yeah, but I'm not the guy with the #1 trending video on YouTube. I need your help. I can't be co-host on your live streams, said Nick. Why not? Because I have my own channel to run. How am I supposed to do that if I'm spending 6 hours with you every day? Fine, said Teddy. Then only come on 3 days a week. No, said Nick. 2 days a week. Nick let out a deep breath. I can guest star in your streams now and then, but beyond that, I don't have the time. This compromise merely served to piss Teddy off. I don't know why you're being so selfish right now. I could say the same thing about you, said Nick. I'm not the one who can pimp out his cousin in exchange for views. Nick had to take a second to let that one process, lest he say something he didn't mean. No, but you are the one pushing for it. It's not my cousin, said Teddy. Whatever, said Nick, standing up. I don't have the time for this. Apparently, you don't have the time for anything, said Teddy. Though he did his best not to let them, Teddy's words disturbed him. Instead of responding, Nick walked away, shaking his head. He didn't know where in the house he was going, just walking while trying to stifle his anger. Thus, he ended up standing in the bathroom without actually having to go to the bathroom. He leaned on the sink and watched his reflection staring back at him. The other man wore an expression steeped in concern. He knew he needed to talk to Daisy to get her permission, but what if she said no? He was already too far into the deal. There was no longer any way for him to back out. Their eyes were locked as they stood there, judging each other. You have to go along with it now. He was struck with the image of Tom bursting into his house, the man demanding why he hadn't been invited too, seeing Jason talking to his wife. Cheaters were always jealous. His mind would race to conclusions. He would attack, and Daisy would be furious at Nick for causing the situation. Maybe he could go back on his word, betray Jason's deal, but that didn't sit right. On the other hand, was it really that bad? It was only a meeting after all. He had a tendency to overthink things. Perhaps this was one of those times. Nick took out his phone and brought up his YouTube analytics. The numbers were continuing to rise unabated. He could feel a trickle of excitement at this, even through all of his worry. The deal was done. He knew he wouldn't go back on it. He decided it wasn't that much of a bad thing. It was only one meeting. That was no big deal at all. Yo, Nick, Teddy called from the living room. Nick took one last look in the mirror, then closed his eyes. He had no desire to keep the argument with Teddy going, but he knew he wasn't going to co-host his channel. He didn't have the time, nor the desire, and he knew it would only serve to pull time and effort away from his own channel. That was something he refused to do. I should have brought a water. This is a lot easier with water. Okay. Nick left the bathroom, feeling forlorn. He knew he wouldn't back down from this. Couldn't afford to. We have a guest, said Teddy. Nick was shocked to find Jason standing in their living room. He looked around uncomfortably, as though he weren't sure if he should keep standing or sit down. The video is up, said Jason when he spotted Nick. I noticed, said Nick. I think it's doing decently well. Jason looked between Nick and Teddy as though searching for confirmation. Doing well? Asked Nick. It's #1 on trending. This statement caused Jason to relax a little. Yeah, I suppose it is. Both mine and Nick's channels are blowing up right now, said Teddy. That's good to hear, bro, said Jason, crossing his arms. Teddy caught Nick's eye and motioned towards the camera he used for his live streams. Nick shook his head subtly. Teddy rolled his eyes. Jason cleared his throat, bringing back Nick's attention. So, any word from Daisy? Nick felt himself straighten. No, what do you mean? She hasn't canceled, has she? The last time I talked to her was with you at the pool, said Nick. Oh, said Jason. Then perhaps you should text her and see if we're still on. If she hasn't canceled, then we're still on, said Nick. Girls like that love to cancel. It's best to double check. It's not very hard to send a text, Teddy added. Nick was about to retort, but then saw the concerned look on Jason's face, the annoyance on Teddy's. He wondered why he was resisting so hard. Fine, he said, pulling out the phone. He found Daisy's name, then typed, You still up for coming over? There, said Nick. Happy? At least now we'll know, said Jason, the concern draining from his face. I also came over to let you know that I'm preparing to start my next video soon. I'm gonna need 20 people and want to know if you're interested. Hell yeah, said Teddy. Jason glanced at him with a smirk. Just then, Nick's phone chimed. He checked it to find Daisy's response. Sure am. How about tomorrow? Sounds good, he replied. Then to Jason said, Daisy's coming tomorrow. And the collab? Asked Jason. Nick looked up. Huh? Are you down for that? Oh, yeah, said Nick. What is it? I rented out a middle school an hour from here for the weekend. I'm going to bus a group of people out there to have a paintball fight. Nick's eyebrows went up. He could picture a school setting in his head. People with masks on, driving over desks, firing paintballs as they did so. It would definitely be appealing for viewers to watch. They'll let you do that? He asked. A normal school wouldn't, said Jason. But bro, they use this school for movies and TV shows. As long as I put up the cash, they're cool with it. That's awesome, said Nick. And he meant it. He wanted to see this video, and even more, he wanted to run around a school playing paintball. This will be the second video of mine you guys are in, both of you, said Jason, glancing momentarily at Teddy. And I think you know how big of a deal that is. We do, Teddy said. That means there's a lot of people who want to be in the position you're in right now. I have no doubt that some of these people are upset and feel you're not deserving of that position. Jason let out a small puff of a laugh. Human nature sucks sometimes. However, I have to take that into consideration when deciding who gets to be in my videos. Nick felt curious to know who he was talking about, if someone actually complained or if he simply meant in general. He decided to hold his tongue to see where Jason was going with this. Jason looked them over, his smile gone. This has been a problem I've been dealing with for a while now. As a solution, I started the Dandy Squad, a group of select social media influencers gathered together in a union. We're loyal to each other, and our channels are like one big network. I've heard of that, said Teddy. That's you guys? It is, said Jason. And as a rule, I'm allowed to bring people from the outside in, but only so often. What are you saying? Asked Nick. I'm saying that you're the prominent person in my last video. So if you want to be in this one, you're going to have to join the Dandy Squad. There it is, thought Nick. Jason was offering another video, but in exchange, he would have to give something up. Last time, it was his cousin. This time, it was his independence. He wondered what he would lose next. "Deal," said Teddy. He spoke so fast that Nick barely had time to register. "Good," said Jason. "That should keep the gang off my back." Nick wanted to object, to deny the request, but he knew it was 2 against 1, and he couldn't quite form the objection into words. He once again found himself wondering if he was overreacting. Surely, it couldn't hurt to join a group of like-minded people. He also had to address his channel's newfound growth. Without Jason, none of it would be happening. "Okay," he said finally. "Do we have to sign something?" Jason laughed. "Nah, it's more of a verbal agreement. If I tell the others, they'll accept it." Pages are stuck together. Okay. "Cool," said Nick, feeling as though nothing had changed. Jason pulled out his phone and asked for both of Nick and Teddy's numbers. When they were done, Jason continued to text on his phone. A moment later, they both got a group message with 12 or so other members in it. "Heads up, I have 2 new members coming into the Dandy Squad. Nick and Teddy from the party the other night." Nick read Jason's name above the text, just as more messages came in from unknown numbers. "Aw, snap. I knew it. I don't remember Teddy. You sure he's cool?" Nick thought about group messages he'd been in the past. His pocket had vibrated for almost an hour straight one time. It hadn't bothered him too much, but a few of the others got mad. People trying to work. He wanted to reply, to introduce himself as officially part of the group, but he didn't want to add to the noise. Teddy, on the other hand, was not shy about it. "I'm cool as a cucumber. What's up, everyone?" came his reply a few seconds later. Nick felt embarrassed for him, though he couldn't help but hide his smile. Teddy met him with a smile of his own, shrugging as if to say, "What?" The responses were all friendly, which made Nick feel good. He began to think maybe being in the Dandy Squad could be a good thing. They had come out here to be near other video creators and influencers. Now they were in a group full of them. Nick checked his YouTube analytics one more time. The numbers were skyrocketing. Thus ends Chapter 7. Things are heating up. Nick's channel's going gangbusters. We're getting kind of deep into the story. We're moving in on that halfway point. What's going to happen next?